Warhaven looks goddamn brutal. For Honor came out quite some time ago now, and there's been a lot of talk whether we're going to get something of a For Honor 2 later in the future. You see, when For Honor first came out, it was interestingly received. Some loved it, some despised its weird combat style, but Warhaven is hoping to take that and make something even bigger. And my god, after we got this announcement trailer at Gamescom, I was so excited. Join the battlefields of Warhaven, a visceral medieval fantasy sword fighting experience, and be a part of a 16 versus 16 team fighting with swords, arrows, and magic. Transform into powerful heroes called Immortals to unleash brutal havoc and turn the tide of war. The first trailer and gameplay we saw show us a good variety of both melee, ranged, and magic attacks. Graphically, it looks goddamn beautiful. Now, of course, we can't really put historical accuracy on this title. That's not what they're going for. But are they going for epic looking stuff? Yeah, it seems that way. Think of it more of a For Honor rather than a mountain blade when it comes to arms and armor, and, well, magic as well. I really do love the kite flying as well. It's going to be so cool to enter the battlefield on the back of them, to finally go in with your swords and shields to take on the war. As mentioned, this game is going to be 16 versus 16. Nothing on a massive scale, but it's going to more focus on those 1v1 attacks and, of course, helping your enemies and using teamwork in order to become victorious. You can pick your own weapons of choice, whether it's swords, spears, maces, warhammers, bows, arrows, or magic when that eventually comes into it as well. And it looks like there will be some sort of artillery pieces and battering rams on the more siege levels. Now, speaking of levels, there are going to be different game modes within the title. I just fucking noticed. What the hell is that? Is that... What the... Sorry, is this a... Guys, I think the Shermans are okay, that is mental. I'm all for fantasy, but Jesus, what is... what the hell is that? Oh, that's made me less excited. The game modes are as follows. Onslaught will be a capture the flag to push back enemy fronts. There's also a skirmish, which is a more basic attack and defend game mode. And arms race, where you protect a prized war machine and advance into enemy territories. Let's hope that war machine isn't some sort of medieval tank, as we seem to have discovered. Now, players can team up with each other. Whilst it's 16 versus 16, you can have up to 3 mates in your squad. So I'm assuming you can join the same games as them and work together. Strategize among squads to cover different areas and be the first to secure tactical advantages such as war cannons, ballistae, and siege engines. Each squad will need to pull their own weight to ensure the whole team's victory. As we saw there will be cavalry combat as well, but I'm not sure it's going to be all that common. It's going to be mostly focusing on ground. But what are these heroes that they talk of? Well, you're able to gain supernatural powers by transforming into Immortals. You can step onto the battlefield as a soldier and evolve into an Immortal when you, of course, play well enough and gain the right amount of kills and points on the game. Each Immortal will have their own skills and challenges to face, but of course be powerful characters on the battlefield that can turn the tide of games if needs be. Think of it more like a Lord of the Rings conquest, where you're able to play as Gandalf or Legolas when you get enough kills on the battlefield, and it lets you pick one of those awesome characters from the films. Now, it's not all great. As we saw, there's some weird medieval tanks, which, of course, creative license comes into it. That seems a little bit insane to me. But once again, it seems like there are some terrifying looks at microtransactions. So far, this game is set to be free to play, which might sound insane, but we all know that they've got to make money somehow. But it looks like it might just be cosmetics. They've said on their store page, customize your character to be the most lavish knight on the field. Victories guarantee stunning rewards and allow you to shine and march forward into battle in style. Choose between medieval, fantasy, and also tactical gear styles for a truly unique look. And it worries me. They've said that you'll be able to gain these things through the game, which I'm sure you will be, but there's no doubt in my mind that these are cosmetics that you can also buy. It's got to this weird point in gaming where people have been so sick and tired of microtransactions that actually when they say it's just cosmetic microtransactions, it's almost a positive, when really it's still locking content behind another paywall. Is it fair enough in a free-to-play game? It's a little bit more forgiving. If you're not shilling out $50 for a title, then putting some stuff, if it's just cosmetic behind a paywall, seems okay, because of course companies do have to make money. It's a bit less forgiving when they charge you $50 and then they say, look, if you want the coolest gear, you're gonna have to pay even more. But we're not over yet, because it wasn't just the trailer. Last night we got a full bit of gameplay from Warhaven. This almost feels exclusive. It has 400 views so far on their YouTube channel, so very few people have actually seen this new bit of gameplay. But it shows us a good amount of what we can actually expect from the title. It looks like they're playing it on PS4. So far, the game is on Steam. There is an open beta test that I think you can join, but I'm assuming that it's going to become free to play in the near future once it's released. Yet that release date has not been announced. But from the first bit of gameplay, we can see that this is the Capture the Flag game mode, and it looks so similar to what we had in For Honor. It also has that kind of weird, over-the-top, hectic style of a Conqueror's Blade, just without the AI and bots, but the combat is really focusing on that Ubisoft medieval classic. Loads of people loved the way combat worked in that game, and I think people that enjoyed For Honor will come into Warhaven with some big expectations, hoping maybe to be the sequel to the Ubisoft title that we got all the way back in 2016. However, is it going to live up to that? I don't think this is going to be the same scale. It's made by Nexon Korea Corporation. As a developer team, they haven't made all that much in the past, at least on this same scale. It's mostly anime dueling games, which isn't exactly my kind of thing. Whether that's going to translate well into a medieval fantasy multiplayer combat them up, I guess only time will tell. Gameplay does look promising, however, especially the shield and mace combat. You can see doing charges there, battering people down. There's going to be a lot of teamwork, and I'm assuming this is going to be something that they're going to try and aim for, some sort of competitive play as well as just an experience for the casual medieval fantasy fan. One thing that's going to be really, really interesting to see is how well magic is balanced, because we've already heard that there will be immortals within the game that can change the balance of a match. Will magic be a similar thing? It looks like most of the spells are going to be passive, healing, guarding, that sort of thing. But when it starts to get to more magic missile style weaponry, it could shift the way the game is balanced. I think for me, I'm going to be playing as the archer. It's always the class that I'm drawn to. And especially in a map like this with many different levels, it's going to be really advantageous to get up onto those high parts and shooting down. I think overall, Warhaven is looking very promising. There are some things that I'm very skeptical about, mostly cosmetics and whatever those weird tank things are in the background. So I keep going on about them, but they are really distracting. What is going on here? But let me know what you think. Do you think Warhaven could be the next For Honor? Or do you think it's not going to quite live up to the expectations that people are starting to give it? Leave your comments down below. But leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a dislike if you didn't. But until then, I will see you in the next one.